Google might be preparing to throw a pretty big monkey wrench into my own personal plans by launching the Pixel 10 series of devices maybe as early as 2 months earlier than last year. Let's take a look at this article over here on ShaneCraig.tech. We'll see if we can kind of piece together exactly what's going on here. So guys, maybe you saw just a few days ago, this Twitter user, Mark's Gone Public, posted a series of images that appeared to show a commercial being filmed for a Pixel device. Now, you have to admit, it did look exactly like this Pixel device, basically, because the Pixel 10 does look exactly like the Pixel 9. So it's hard to say 100% that it is the Pixel 10, but they're not filming a commercial for the Pixel 9 right now. So probably the Pixel 10. Now, unfortunately, that user's Twitter account is now gone. It has been completely removed, and I imagine that's probably not a coincidence. Now, there are several different websites that are still hosting these images. I'm not going to actually show you everything because I don't want this video to get taken down. So I'm going to leave that at that. Now, that in and of itself is not proof positive that the Pixel 10 is coming early. You can film a commercial in May and then launch the device in August. Maybe it takes a while to edit that commercial, but we have more than that. You see, there is this program called the Pixel Superfans. And what happens if you become a member of the Pixel Superfans? You have basically proven yourself to Google to be a major fan of Pixel devices. Maybe you buy a lot of Pixel devices. You've spent a lot of money in the store. They send you an email, or maybe you've applied through their form, which used to be open. Anyways, you become a Pixel Superfan. And from there, you might get invitations to, use discount codes or participate in Q&A sessions, or maybe invites to do things like this. Pixel Superfans Cross Pixel Penthouse. We're excited to invite you to Pixel Penthouse, your chance to see our next Pixel line before anyone else. This email went out to some superfans, a 1 in 25 chance to go to this hour and 30-minute long event in London on the 27th of June at 2:30 p.m. to get their hands on pre-release Pixel devices and features. June the 27th is when this event is going to happen. Now, it's very unlikely that they're going to have this event and then not actually announce these phones for another 2 months. The Pixel 9 launched in August. That's 2 months apart, or, I guess it's the end of June, but still, you know what I mean. Which I guess the Pixel 9 launched August the 22nd, so that's towards the end of August. So yeah, basically 2 months apart. And it's also worth noting that Android itself is running well ahead of schedule. This is my Pixel 9 Pro Fold running Android 16 QPR1 Beta 1. Why is that significant? Well, that's the quarterly platform release past Android 16. Android 16 is rumored to launch on Pixel devices in stable form on June the 3rd. That is a full 4 months earlier than last year's October release for Android 15. If the Pixel 10 were to launch in August like the Pixel 9 did last year, that would be a pretty major inversion of what has been happening, where last year, the Pixel 9 launched, and then 2 months later, Android 15 came out. This would be Android 16 coming out in June, and then the phone not coming out until August. Another major, I think, sign that these Pixel 10 devices are indeed coming much, much sooner. Also, keep in mind that the Pixel 9a launched in March, 2 months earlier than its predecessor. Everything seems like it's just moving up, and that is going to have major ramifications, especially for people like me who are big folding phone users. And this is where the monkey wrench for me comes in. I don't know if you guys have noticed this or not, but I'm not just a folding phone user. I'm a folding phone content creator. This is what I do for a living. I talk about phones, and I do focus on phones that happen to fold. Weird, strange, oddball devices. And what we might have happening here is a scenario where the Pixel 10 Pro Fold comes out end of June or early July, and then the Galaxy Z Fold 7 comes out sometime in July as well. An $1,899 device, and potentially another device from Google, which is $1,799, something like that. That is a lot of money. And while I would love to cover both of those devices, spending $4 grand in 1 month on hardware is pretty hard for a small content creator to do. And typically, how this has gone for the last couple of years is the Z Fold comes out first, and I can afford to buy that. And then, I'm just going to be honest with you guys, covering Z Fold devices is more profitable. If you've ever wondered why there are so many content creators to talk about Samsung phones, it's because you make more money talking about Samsung phones. I do prefer Google's phones, but that is just the reality of things. So a lot of the time what happens is I shell out that money for the Z Fold. I talk about it. I love those phones. They're great. I talk about them. You guys click my affiliate links and I make a decent amount of money, and that money goes towards paying for that Pixel Fold that comes out in a few months. It all works out great with them both launching at the same time. That is just not going to be the case. I've already talked about in a prior video how maybe I'm not actually going to buy the Pixel 10 Pro Fold this year. I gave my reasoning of what it would take to pull me back in and get me to do it. Well, this release date would be a pretty major stone in the I'm not going to be doing this, at least at launch this year, side of the scale. I know a lot of you think that I am absolutely full of baloney on that one. I got several comments saying, of course you're going to buy it. But trust me when I tell you, I am genuinely undecided after the troubles I've had with Fold 1 and Fold 2, the other things I talk about in that video, and then, of course, the launch timing. Yeah, definitely undecided. And no, this is not some sort of a call for donations or anything like that. It's fine. It just is what it is. But if I end up not buying it, I don't want you guys to be shocked and wonder why on earth or how that has occurred. Nonetheless, though, guys, pretty interesting set of circumstances that I think do quite clearly point towards the Pixel 10 launching quite a bit earlier across the board. It seems like the hardware not changing a whole lot on any of these phones. The base Pixel 10 appears to be picking up a telephoto lens, but other than that, nothing too crazy happening. Tensor G5 made by TSMC, that's going to be pretty cool, but I don't think it's going to be some like landmark crazy improvement in terms of performance or efficiency. It's going to be all about those software features. So if anything can pull me over, I think it's probably going to be something there. Maybe it's Pixel Sense or maybe something else that they have got hidden up their sleeve. Only time will tell, guys. Let me know what you think in those comments down below. Subscribe for more content like this, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.